Hello students, this is your teacher Swagata Rai Chaudhary and I welcome you all for paper discussion on mock 4 for re-NEET. Correct? সবাইকে স্বাগত জানাচ্ছি আমরা mock 4 এর paper discussion we are going to continue from here. Right? Please take out your question paper, your doubts and everything which you can reach out to me with. Okay? So let's start with botany. So you will realize that there are two chapters which we have covered in botany in mock 4. One is your photosynthesis and the other one is your respiration. So you have to be thorough with your enzymes. See, there are many questions where electron carriers, hydrogen donors, location, ATP count, all these questions have been put into the paper, right? So that you get an idea how to revise. Okay, let's start. I'm going to do the specific ones which are going to be very, very important where I'm needed, right? So let's start. This is so easy, so easy. Such an easy equation, photosynthesis. But see, you have to understand which one you need to take. You can't take this one. Be careful. You can't take this one even though this signifies carbohydrate, correct? Where is the water? You need to balance out water, right? So, carbon dioxide, this one, carbohydrate, and this. Be careful. Be careful, huh? So, the ratio of the water utilized and the water produced should be proper, correct ratio. This is not of that format which you guys have learnt in lower grades. This is nothing but your carbohydrate, correct? Your carbohydrate that you are produced. Okay? So, obviously, I'm not just looking at the other options. So, this is gone, and this is your answer. Correct? This one is your answer. Be careful. Check it out. Alright? See, equation based. Okay. Important. I told you, ATP based question. Okay. Calvin cycle. That means light independent reaction. Correct? Light independent, dark. Where is it taking place? Stroma. Stroma of chloroplast. Correct? Alright. Now they are saying 1 molecule of glucose requires how many? Okay. Understand? In one turn of Calvin cycle, one carbon dioxide can be fixed. One CO2 is fixed. Okay? For one glucose, which is C6H12O6, how many carbons do you see? 6, no? 6, no? So, 6 CO2 fixation required. Correct? 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 So that means the Calvin cycle has to go 6 turns. So, 6 turns. You need 6 turns. Correct? 6 turns. Now, in one turn, 3 ATPs and 2 NADPH2 required. So for 6 turns, why 6 turns? 1 glucose. 6 carbon dioxide need to be fixed, correct? For 6 turns, multiply 18 ATPs and 12 NAD H2. Correct? Let me underline it with a different color. Do you see that? Required. So let's figure out 18 molecules of ATP and 12 molecules of NADH. Do you see this? See. So in 1 turn, 1 carbon dioxide can be fixed. Okay. 1 glucose has 6 carbon atoms. So you need 6 carbon dioxide, 6 turns. So in 1 turn, 3 ATPs and 2 NADPH2 required. So for 6 turns, how many? Simple. Right? Let me move on. All right. Okay. So here they are talking about PEP carboxylase. So PEP carboxylase is phosphoenol pyruvate carboxylase, which is functional in C4 plants. Correct? And that too in mesophyll cells of C4 plants. Correct? So phosphoenol pyruvate captures CO2. It is a 3 carbon compound. 1 second, I'll just write. PEP carboxylase. Understand its funda. So PEP carboxylase is going to ensure that phosphoenol pyruvate 3 carbon compound present in mesophyll cell of C4 plant combines with 1 carbon dioxide, that means 1 carbon, to produce oxaloacetic acid. So 3 carbon plus 1 carbon, 4 carbon. This is taking place in mesophyll cells of C4. Understand? This is its role. Okay. Now let's read the questions. It says PEP carboxylase is involved in at least some CO2 fixation in both C3, C4. No. False. In C3, PEP carboxylase has no role. Catalyzes the reaction of fixing CO2 into pyruvic acid in bundle sheath cell. No. Mesophyll. Correct? So, false. Okay. Is capable of fixing CO2. PEP carboxylase is capable of fixing CO2 more efficiently in a better way at lower CO2 concentration in the atmosphere than RUBP carboxylase. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. So, PEP carboxylase can fix CO2 in a better way if the CO2 concentration is lower. This is the reason C4 plants have craniotomy. তো কি করা হয়েছে, try and understand. বলা হচ্ছে কি PEP carboxylase efficiently এই এনজাইমটা RUBP carboxylase এর রেসপেক্টে PEP carboxylase can fix CO2 in a better way, more efficiently, if atmospheric carbon dioxide concentration কম. Correct? তাতে কি হবে? C4 plants can grow better. এই জন্যে C4 plants have craniotomy, so that is good for them. Good for them. That's one of the best adaptations. কি craniotomy করে নেব, bundle sheath cell আছে আর mesophyll আছে. Mesophyll এ PEP carboxylase will work properly আর ভালোভাবে efficiently carbon dioxide fixation can happen even if atmospheric carbon dioxide concentration is lower. Correct? So that's why that's a good survival technique. True. So only third option is there. Correct? Understand? Fine? Okay. Now let's come to this one. Identify the correct combination of the following. I see. So substrate, enzyme and product is what we are dealing with. Okay. So suppose I take pyruvate and I use pyruvate kinase. will I get a 3-carbon compound? No. No. Pyruvate kinase is used in, somewhere else in glycolysis, where you can convert phosphoenol pyruvate to pyruvate using pyruvate kinase. Remember? So, no. Let's come to this one. RUBP, fine 5-carbon compound. Which enzyme do you need? You need Rubisco. You need Rubisco. You mostly need Rubisco, right? And which enzyme is given? Kinase. So, I can't take that. 1 second, I'll just remove the option. So, this option also doesn't work. Correct? Now, let's come to, okay, the second one, malate. Okay. So, if malate itself is 4-carbon compound. Okay. If you are using some malic enzyme on it, you will get another 4-carbon compound. Okay. Another 4-carbon compound. So this is fine. Come to the first one. Phosphoenol pyruvate. 3-carbon compound. I see. Phosphoenol pyruvate. PEP. Okay. PEP. Okay. You're using PEP carboxylase. PEP carboxylase. Okay. What will you get? If you add carbon dioxide to it, you will get oxaloacetic acid, which is a 4-carbon compound. That means this is also correct. So this one and this one, 1 and 2 are correct, and these are false. Correct? So that means 1 and 2. Option number 2. Have a look. I'm dissecting it. Let's move on. Okay. See, one is labeled as A and the other one is R. Let's read the assertion. The bundle sheath rich in Rubisco but lacks pepcase. True. True. Suppose this is the stomata. 1 second. This is the stomata. Okay. Carbon dioxide enters. PEP. You get oxaloacetic acid. You get malic acid. C4 cycle, right? This malic acid will pass out here. Correct? You get pyruvic acid or pyruvate, and 1 carbon dioxide is liberated. This carbon dioxide, in the presence of Rubisco, performs C3 cycle. So this one is your bundle sheath cell. Bundle sheath. Correct? And this one is your mesophyll. Correct? What will happen? This pyruvic acid will now enter here. Okay? And then it will convert into PEP again. Correct? This is what your C4 cycle is all about. So, let's see A. The bundle sheath rich in Rubisco. Rubisco is in bundle sheath but lacks phosphoenol carboxylase. PEP carboxylase. True, because PEP carboxylase will be here. PEP carboxylase will be here. Correct? PEP carboxylase will be here. So this statement is true. Now let's read that. The reason they are giving, the reason is the basic pathway that results in formation of sugar in Calvin cycle is common to C3 and C4 plants. I see. They are saying that PEP carboxylase is in mesophyll and bundle sheath cells have Rubisco because the basic pathway that results in formation of sugar in Calvin cycle, C3 cycle, is common to C3 and C4 plants. So yes, it is, because The basic pathway that results in formation of sugar. Basic pathway in C3 and C4. That's common. That's common. Because Rubisco also participates in glucose formation in C3 plants. In C3 plants. So if Rubisco works for C3 plants and same Rubisco is present here, then what interpretation we can draw? We can draw the interpretation that the basic food preparation pathway is same for C3 and C4. So this is also true, and reason explains the assertion. See, Rubisco is common here as well as here. Why? Because the basic pathway is same. Correct? So both assertion and reason correct, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Option 1. Have a look. Right? Okay. Okay. So P700. That means this is cyclic phosphorylation. I see. So when the excited electron jumps, it is captured by ferredoxin, then the electron transfer will happen to this molecule, which is nothing but plastoquinone. Then from plastoquinone, the energy transfer will reach to cytochrome. Correct? Cytochrome. From cytochrome, it will go to plastocyanin. And then electrons will flow back to the photosystem. Correct? Plastocyanin, this is cytochrome, B6F, right? B6F, cytochrome, B6F, correct? So, in cyclic photophosphorylation, only ATP will be produced, isn't it? Only ATP will be produced here. So what are they asking? What does A represent? Yeah, A represents plastoquinone. This is cytochrome B6F, plastocyanin, and electron flow backs from where it gets excited and jumps. It gets backs to from where it originates from. Correct? Okay. Acha, what is this FRS thing? This FRS thing concept you will find in non-cyclic photophosphorylation, where ferredoxin is converted to ferredoxin reducing substrate. Okay, if you go through NCERT, you will notice that where they are talking about non-cyclic photophosphorylation, their FRS concept is there. Okay, non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Over there, FRS is ferredoxin reducing substrate. Fine. Now let's move on. Okay. Okay, this is very easy. This is a direct statement from NCERT, and it says that in photosystems, antennae includes all pigments except which one? Like that means in antennae molecules, every pigment from these options should be present, but one pigment should be absent, and that is your chlorophyll A. This is very easy. Chlorophyll A is not present in antennae molecule, but others are. Okay, B, carotenoids and xanthophyll are all present. So I'm not discussing that in too much detail. Now let's go to the next one. Which one of the following is not true? Incorrect is what they are asking us to discuss. Is not true about light reaction of photosynthesis. Incorrect for light reaction. Okay, light energy provides energy for photolysis of water through excitation of the reaction center of PS2, which is P680. Am I right? This is true. This is absolutely true, isn't it? Because when the light energy is trapped by photosystem 680, only then the water will split and produce oxygen. Remember? So this is absolutely true. Okay? Okay, the flow of electrons from water to NADP in non-cyclic produces 1 ATP. True. True. Absolutely true. Remember, this is how we do it, no? Non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Sun, P680, splitting up of water, you generate oxygen and all, and hydrogen, okay? Electron jumps, the first electron acceptor, correct? Your first electron acceptor will be there, okay? Then plastoquinone, okay? Then cytochrome B6F or cytochrome B6, cytochrome F, you get ATP out here, correct? Then plastocyanin, correct? Then you have photosystem 1, electron will jump, it will go to ferredoxin, and then ferredoxin reducing substrate will be produced and your NAD, correct? So the idea is water splitting, this is photolysis. Read the statement. The flow of electrons from water to NADP till here in non-cyclic photophosphorylation produces 1 ATP. So it's correct. Reactions of two photosystems are needed for reduction of NADP. Absolutely. Absolutely. NADP reduction is needed. NADP reduction is needed. And which two photosystems you are using? 700 and 680, right? So this is also true. Now let's come to this. P680 and P700 are the reaction centers of PS1 and PS2. No, 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 no. This is PS1 and this is PS2. Correct? Correct? And they have given it by flipping it, right? So they have flipped. 680 should be PS2 and P700 should be PS1. They have flipped it. So that means this one is false. So fourth option should be the option for this question. Do you get me? Fine. Let's move on. Okay. All right. Factors, this is also very easy, very, very easy. The factors which actually affect the rate of photosynthesis. Definitely. Amount of oxygen, carbon dioxide, yes, because you know that the saturation levels of C3 and C4 plants are different under varying concentrations of oxygen and CO2. Amount of chlorophyll, definitely if the leaf does not have chlorophyll, the light reactions will be suffering in a very bad way because the photosystems won't be activated. So true. Age and orientation of leaves, absolutely, because aging leaves will have lesser chlorophyll, their trapping sources will be lesser, right? And arrangement of stomata, arrangement of mesophyll cells will be compromised. So definitely yes, it will affect. It will affect. If the leaf ages, the rate of photosynthesis decreases, definitely. Number and size of leaves, absolutely. More is the number of leaves, better will be the photosynthesis. More is the surface area, more will be the rate of photosynthesis. Correct? Because of the exposure to sun. And then reaching the limiting factors or everything else is a different story altogether. Here they are saying simply what are the factors which affect the rate of photosynthesis. So all these factors in some way or the other will affect the photosynthesis, correct? Fine, so I'll go with all factors. Do I make sense? See, let's not complicate. Fine. All right. Cyclic photophosphorylation, just now I have discussed. What is the product of cyclic photophosphorylation? ATP. In non-cyclic, you get ATP and NADPH2, right? So that's how it is. Let's move on. Okay. All right. Now, this is interesting. Main steps of chemosynthesis. So chemosynthetic hypothesis, which is there, which helps in ATP synthesis. Okay, they are asking you arrange them in proper order. I see. Okay, let's start from where it will be. You know that in chemiosmotic hypothesis, suppose this is your thylakoid. So you have different photosystems located. Am I right? You have photosystem 2 located here, correct? And you have photosystem 1 located here. Okay? You have a proton pump, that is your cytochrome B6F. Do you get me? And here you will have F0, F1 particle. 1 second. F0, F1 particle. Fine? So, this is your ATP synthase. What is its function? Its function is to produce ATP from ADP and PI, correct? This lumen will have huge H plus ion concentration, correct? With the movement of H plus ions out in the stroma, ATP production will be there, correct? Apart from this, you have carrier molecules like plastoquinone, plastocyanin and all, okay? So let me put plastoquinone, let me put, or else I can put it somewhere there also, plastocyanin. Do you get me? Okay, splitting up of water will also take place here. So water splits to produce oxygen, electrons and hydrogen that excites the entire system on. Now let's read. So what will be the first thing? Your first thing will be here. Photosystem 2 will be excited by photons. So light will actually excite photosystem 2. Light will actually excite photosystem 2. Okay, so that is this one. Fifth. So let me put this as point number 1. So this is 1. Correct? Now what will happen when this will get excited? Then, okay, water will split, oxygen will be produced, hydrogen ions will be produced, and electrons will be produced, correct? And you will get PQH2 and all, and this will circulate like this, correct? Electrons are generated, which will flow out this way. Am I right? And ultimately your NADP will be utilized. Do you get me? Do you get me? So this is how the electron flow will happen. Okay. So water splitting, oxygen, hydrogen and H plus ions. Correct? Hydrogen and electrons are produced. H plus ions and electrons are produced, which will excite the plastoquinone and it will be converted into PQH2. Correct? Fine. So electrons are produced, H plus ions are produced. Correct? So because of that, what will happen? Your plastoquinone will be excited. Correct? And it will turn into PQH2. So which option will it be? Yeah, this one. This is your statement 2. See. Okay? So now PQH2 will start transferring the electrons this way. Correct? So fourth. Okay? Electrons from PS to pass. Okay. Now, carriers use energy from electrons to move H plus across the membrane. Plastoquinone. Correct? So it will actually help in movement of H plus ions. So third, right? Now let's go to So because of that, some H plus ions can also enter this way. Okay. Some H plus ions can also enter this way. So because H plus ions are entering this way, there will be a gradient inside. So I think it should be fourth. This one. Okay. That's the fourth statement. So where did I start from? 5 5, this is 5, 4, 3, 5, 4, 3, and then I'm taking this one. So first statement, that means this is going to be my fifth statement, correct? H plus ion accumulation will happen here, and this H plus will start flowing out through F0, F1 complex, which is nothing but ATP synthase, right? So electron carriers, or rather carriers which are present in the membrane, they promote the entry of H plus ions. H plus ions will accumulate in the lumen and will start flowing through the ATP synthase, generating ATP, correct? So, yeah, so till here it's fine. 2 is fine. Okay, now what will be the last one? Energy of H plus ions flow is used by ATP synthetase, okay, to make ATP. Okay, so let me write it down properly. Synthetase. ATP synthetase, correct? To make ATP. To make ATP, correct? So that means this is going to be my sixth one. Yeah, sixth point. This one. So that means this option. Do you get me? Okay? Fine, fine, fine. Let's move on. Okay. This is like more or less same only. Okay? So I'm not doing this one. Let's quickly move so that we understand which one is important and how we are going to do it. Let's do this pigment question. Energy transfer in photosynthesis occurs as, interesting, very, very interesting. So chlorophyll A will be the last one, main one, okay? So first of all, phycoerythrin, then phycocyanin, then carotenoid, and then chlorophyll. Okay, so this is how we do it. Okay, just keep that in mind. This question was important. Okay. Which of the following statement is false in case of C4 plants? I see. Which of the following statement is false in case of C4 plant? Okay. So mesophyll cells lack rubisco. This is true. This is true because in mesophyll you have PEP carboxylase, which is true. Okay. Fine. Now what they are talking? Leaves have two cell types, true. Mesophyll and bundle sheath. Carboxylation occurs in mesophyll cell. Then what is rubisco doing? In bundle sheath? So, that's also important. And what about this one? CO2 acceptor. Oh, that makes sense. Actually, this statement makes sense. That carboxylation occurs in mesophyll cells. Oh yeah, there is PEP carboxylase, no? Yeah. In mesophyll we have PEP plus CO2. Okay, in mesophyll. So we are getting what? We are getting OAA. So this is carboxylation. So this is true. Yeah. And in bundle sheath, rubisco is also playing its role, right? Now let's come to the first one. CO2 acceptor is rubisco in mesophyll cells? No. CO2 acceptor is PEP carboxylase in mesophyll, right? So this one is false. Right? So we'll go with this one. Correct? Let's move. Okay. Same kind of statements, right? Same kind of statements. Which one is correct? Where is your RUBP found? So I'm not doing this. Let me quickly. This is interesting. This is a bit interesting. See the diagram. So they are saying identify A, identify B, C, D. I see. This is non-cyclic photophosphorylation, right? So this is going to be, all right. So that means, what do I do? A, where is A? Okay. Where is B? B is this, which connects. Okay, so this should be ETS. Correct? This should be electron acceptor. Right? Then, okay, then they say this is part of PS2. Correct? Correct? And this is part of PS1 700. Correct? So that means this option. See? Electron flow via plastoquinone, plastocyanine, cytochrome B6F. Here, electron acceptor. Correct? This is the electron acceptor for PS2 and that is for PS1. Correct? Yeah, fine. Fine. So first option, right? Right. Okay. Correct? Let's move on. This is very easy. They are asking the name of the enzyme. Correct? Yeah, they are asking the name of the enzyme. Fine. So, what will be the name of the enzyme? Ribulose bisphosphate carboxylase oxygenase or ribulose phosphate carboxylase oxygenase. So, it should be ribulose bisphosphate, RUB. Okay, so RUBIS, bisphosphate. C stands for carboxylase and this stands for oxygenase. 1. Alright. This is fine. I'm not doing this one again on, okay. Granum and all they are asking, so we are not doing this. Let's do something which is, yeah, let's do this match the following. Let's do this match the following. Correct? Alright, alright. So, chlorophyll A is the reaction center always. Okay. Electron carrier, plastoquinone dihydrogen. Okay. What about H carrier, hydrogen carrier? I'll go with plastoquinone and chlorophyll B will automatically be accessory pigment. Correct? So which option? A3, one second, A3, B2, C1, D4. This one, am I right? C. Okay. Okay. Now I start with some questions of respiration, right? Plant respiration. See, identify the substrate required for only oxidative reaction in the process of glycolysis. Only oxidative phosphorylation in case of glycolysis. Okay, so oxidative phosphorylation where you actually have that step where NADH2 and everything is produced. Remember in glycolysis? So fructose 1,6 bisphosphate will be converted into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate and DHAP, which is dihydroxyacetone phosphate, right? Oxidative phosphorylation. So for that step, you need a substrate because fructose 1,6 bisphosphate is splitting into 3 carbon compounds, which are 2 of them. But for fructose 1,6 bisphosphate to be formed, you need another substrate, and that is fructose 6-phosphate. Where is it in the option? Here. So basically, I am trying to say fructose 6-phosphate is converted to fructose 1,6 bisphosphate, and this 1,6 bisphosphate will then split, you know very well, into G3P and DHAP. Do you get me? Dihydroxyacetone phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. So, and these two are also interconvertible. So this is where your oxidative phosphorylation is taking place, correct? So for fructose 1,6 bisphosphate to form, you need fructose 6-phosphate, correct? That's why I have taken this option, third. Fine. Let me just see. Yeah. Okay. Again, the same kind of question. Let's see. In oxidative decarboxylation, I see. Oxidative decarboxylation, what kind of enzymes do you need? Remember when pyruvate is there and you're trying to convert pyruvate into acetyl-CoA, there one carbon dioxide is going out, correct? That is your decarboxylation process, correct? And your NADH2 produced. So, pyruvate dehydrogenase. Decarboxylation, no? Fine. Let's move to this. Link enzyme in link reaction, pyruvate dehydrogenase. Same thing. Acetyl CoA will be produced from pyruvate with the removal of one carbon dioxide molecule and NADH2 will be produced. Correct? So pyruvate dehydrogenase. The other enzymes are required in Krebs and all. Okay? So we are not doing it. This is I'm not doing. Easy. Okay? This is true regarding connection with electron transport chain. I think you guys can actually deal with this. Okay? Alright. Now, let's see this question. Identify enzyme A in the given reaction of Krebs cycle. Have a look. This is citric acid. This is acetyl-CoA. Do you see that? Okay. And what is it being converted to? So citric acid is 6 carbon compound. Okay. No, that is coenzyme A. My bad. One second. My bad. So, in this particular question, identify the enzyme A. So, this is your coenzyme A. This is your acetyl-CoA. So, acetyl-CoA has two carbon atoms. This has 4 carbon atoms. Citric acid 6. Okay. So acetyl-CoA reacting with oxaloacetic acid to form citric acid. This is the first step of Krebs cycle. Which enzyme will you need? Of course, I'll need citrate synthetase. Yes, I'll need citrate synthetase. And there is no concept of oxidative phosphorylation or anything that is happening. So I'm not taking this one. Correct. Aconitase will come when citric acid, which is produced here, is converted into isocitrate and aconitate and all. So that is also not used. Oxaloacetate synthetase. Synthetase means this enzyme is going to produce oxaloacetic acid. Here oxaloacetic acid is broken down. So citrate synthetase. Option 2. Alright. Given below the diagrammatic representation. Oh, this is on chemoosmotic hypothesis and all. Remember we did chemoosmotic hypothesis in chloroplast. This is mitochondria. In chemosynthetic hypothesis, the enzyme was chloroplast ATP synthetase. Remember, here it will change to mitochondrial membrane. So we are not doing it. Okay, this one was for mitochondria. Okay, this one was for mitochondria. So we are not doing it. See, and the one that we did in chemoosmotic hypothesis, that was for chloroplast. So similar, we are not doing it. Let us quickly come to this. Okay, 1 second. Let me see. This one. Okay, this one. Let's deal with this. So, pathway of anaerobic respiration in yeast, I see. So, if it's anaerobic respiration, have a look. 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate, okay. Okay, so that's a 3 carbon compound, is converted to pyruvate, 3 carbon compound, and then it splits. So, I can go with this one as, 1 second, acetaldehyde, because technically this is 3 carbon, right? And I need to put a CO2 here then. Correct? Correct. Now let's come to this. Glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Okay. Okay. That is coming here. Alright. So that means, okay. Oh, so that means this should be ethanol. Anaerobic respiration, right? Anaerobic respiration, right? So ethanol, acetaldehyde, and carbon dioxide. Correct? Yes. Yes, see this step? Yeah. So it's ethanol, acetaldehyde and carbon dioxide. All right. All right. So I think more or less, like this one, same thing, that citrate synthetase kind of a question. Krebs cycle begins with the reaction. Which one should we take? So it will start with oxaloacetic acid and acetyl-CoA. Where is that option? Here. So oxaloacetic acid is a 4-carbon compound. This is a 2-carbon compound, and you get citric acid, which is your 6-carbon compound, and coenzyme. So this is your citrate synthetase, right? That enzyme. Synthetase. Remember? So fourth one. Okay. Let's see. Glycolysis, fine. 2 steps. This is fine. Okay. Fine. They're asking decarboxylation. CO2 removal is involved where? Krebs cycle. Krebs cycle. In Krebs cycle, when you're converting isocitrate, that is a 6-carbon compound, into, you're converting it into, let's say, succinyl alpha ketoglutarate. So isocitrate, 6-carbon, you're converting it into alpha ketoglutarate, 6 to 5 conversion. So that means 1 carbon dioxide gone there, correct? Then again from alpha ketoglutarate to you're converting it into succinyl CoA, 4-carbon compound. So again 1 CO2 goes out. So isocitrate 6-carbon, alpha ketoglutarate 5-carbon, succinyl CoA 4-carbon. So 2 decarboxylations over there. So yeah, Krebs. All right, this is again chemo-osmotic coupling and also we are not doing it. Let's move on. Okay. See, this is electron acceptor ATP synthesis where when the electron is moving, how the cytochromes are arranged and how the electron is moving from one cytochrome to the other, that is very, very important, okay? So which one should we take? Cytochrome B, cytochrome C, cytochrome A3A, or is it AA3? It's AA3, the upper one. It should be this one. Cytochrome B, because it's cytochrome BC1, correct? In electron transport chain. Cytochrome BC1 and AA3. So I'll go with this one. This option, not this one. See, it's very close, but second option, okay? Also not this one, also not this one. Okay. Option 2, okay? Let me see events of Krebs cycle. This is easy. So if you want me, I can do this. So, okay. So I think I should make it work. So I can start from here. 6-carbon, isomer 6-carbon, oxalosuccinate, 6-carbon, isocitrate, alpha ketoglutarate 5-carbon, succinyl CoA 4-carbon, succinate 4, 4, 4. Fine. They haven't mentioned about the other ones over here, fumarate and all. That's okay. So I'll go with the second one. Correct? Right. You cannot have malate after alpha ketoglutarate. Okay. You cannot have oxaloacetic acid after this. So here it goes wrong. Here it goes wrong. And over there in the first step only it goes wrong. Yes. Fine. Okay. Okay. Due to the following reactions, this is also easy. Okay. Easy. There won't be any issue with this. Okay. Yeast poisoning. You guys will be able to do it. I don't think there is any other issue with the other questions. If you can go through it, I think this is fine. Though this question is like, if you can read this question in aerobic respiration, you can read this question very well. You will understand what I mean. So here they say in aerobic respiration, oxygen acts as final hydrogen acceptor. Am I right? And oxygen drives the whole electron transport system by removing hydrogen from the system? Okay, so let's do the first one. In aerobic respiration, oxygen acts as a final hydrogen acceptor. Yeah, true. Oxygen drives the whole electron transport system by removing hydrogen from the system. True. So I think I should go with this one. Both statement 1 and statement 2 correct. So I have tried to discuss as many questions as possible, a mixed bag, and you must have noticed that I invested some time in explaining chemoosmotic hypothesis in chloroplast with that ATP synthetase stuff given where hydrogens are pumped out from lumen to the stroma. Similar kind of a diagrammatic question is also there in the paper where the same system is there in your mitochondria. I mean not system, but the enzyme is ATP synthetase and this time it is present in mitochondrial membrane. So those two questions are like really important questions. Go through them, one I have solved for you. Fine. So assertion reason, hydrogen carriers, decarboxylation, Krebs cycle, which enzyme is what is the sequence of the cytochromes in electron transport chain, where I was discussing about, if you can go through this one, I'll just show you. Yeah, this one, cytochrome BCAA3, right? So all these things are like really, really important. Fine. So I'll keep it till here. And this is all about botany paper discussion for your re-NEET mock paper 4. Till then, happy studying botany. Any queries, any doubts, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you very much. Hello students, this is Swamita Rai Chaudhary and I am your biology faculty. Today we are here for zoology mock paper for re-NEET, correct? So in that case, let's do one thing. Botany we have just now discussed. Let's go and finish zoology for you guys, okay? So let's start. Quickly, the 3 chapters that I'll be dealing with in zoology will be human reproduction, reproductive health, and evolution. 3 very important chapters, content-based chapters, logical stuff. You guys have studied it so well for your main NEET exam. So for re-NEET, we'll just build on our concept, whatever we have. So without wasting any time, let me quickly start. And let's do only those questions where you might feel issues with. Okay? Let's start. Okay, so A undergoes meiotic division leading to sperm formation while B synthesizes a testicular hormone. So B synthesizes a testicular hormone will be this. A undergoes meiotic division. Meiotic division means something which is diploid will undergo meiosis, correct? So male germ cells are 2N. So I'll quickly come here. Salt-like cells are for nourishment, so I'm not wasting your time. You can't put A as interstitial cells because they are saying B is supposed to synthesize testosterone for you. A I cannot take, again, interstitial cells and Leydig cells are same, so I can't take that. So option 3, okay? Let me see. Oh yeah, we can quickly do this. Leydig cells are present in the region outside the seminiferous tubules, of course, because in the seminiferous tubules along the walls you have male germ cells, correct? So this is true. Then let's come to this vast difference that is originating from epididymis and all. You will notice that it joins a duct from seminal vesicle. Seminal vesicle is close to prostate gland, okay? To form vasa efferentia. Absolutely not. Vasa efferentia is formed where the testes is opening into your epididymis, correct? So this is false. Now let's come to this. Semen is a collection of secretions from seminal vesicle, prostate, cowpers. Yes, because they will actually put fructose, calcium ions into the semen. They will ensure that mucus is present and they'll ensure that the pH of the semen is alkaline so that the acidic pH of female reproductive system can be neutralized by Siemens pH, right? So definitely true, false, and this is true. True, false, true. Which option? 1. Let's quickly move. All right. So over here they say pick the odd one out from each series. Okay. Scrotum male, retitestes male, vas deferens male. This is female. So I'll go with fallopian tube. All right. Which option? This one. Okay. Then okay, ovary female, uterus female, vagina female, ejaculatory duct male. This one. Okay, acrosome male, isthmus fallopian tube female, female fallopian tube female. So that means acrosome. Yeah. Prostate, seminal vesicles, bulbourethral gland. These are all glands. So testes, primary sex organ. Testes, primary sex organs because this is directly associated with gametogenesis, correct? So testes. So from every series, fourth option, correct? Let's move on. Number of chromosomes present in spermatogonium. So spermatogonium is 2n, 46, and the number of chromosomes in secondary spermatocyte. Okay, so your secondary spermatocyte is formed after meiosis 1, right? So it is the product of meiosis 1. So that means it should be haploid 23. So 46 and 23, which option? This one, correct? Fine. Have a look. Now let's come to this. Which of the following cells have haploid number of chromosomes? Primary spermatocyte 2n. Secondary spermatocyte is a product of meiosis 1, so haploid. Spermatid is a product of meiosis 2. So whatever is the ploidy of the products of meiosis 1, it will be carried forward, so haploid again. Spermatogonia is 2n. Primary oocyte 2n in females which undergoes meiosis. Secondary polar body again haploid. So in that case, which are haploid? So 2, 3 and 6. 2, 3, 6. 2, 3 and 6. Do you see this? Done. Okay? Okay. Correct. Now let's go to this one. Okay. Which of the following statements are correct, they are saying? Oogenesis is initiated during embryonic development stage. True. Okay, at puberty, 60,000 to 80,000 primary follicles are present. True. In each ovary. Primary follicles get surrounded by many granulosa layers to form a new structure called secondary, primary to secondary. True. The secondary follicle transforms into tertiary follicle by the presence of antrum. All this is happening inside the ovary, correct? Yes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, all statements are correct. Let's move on. Okay, interesting. So 100 primary oocytes, meiosis, will give rise to secondary oocytes, correct? Correct. So let me write it this way. Rather than writing it like this, I should write it this way. 1 second. Okay. So primary oocyte, meiosis, you will get secondary oocyte, polar body, first polar body. Correct. This is easy. And from here you will get ovum. Correct. After meiosis 2. After meiosis 2. And other stuff will degenerate. So if you have 100 primary oocyte, you will have 100 ova. Correct. And they are saying how many sperms will be produced from secondary spermatocyte. Okay. So one secondary spermatocyte gives rise to meiosis 2. It will produce 2 spermatids. Correct? And each spermatid will convert into sperms by differentiation. Correct? Sperms. So one secondary spermatocyte will give rise to 2 sperms. Correct? So 100 secondary spermatocytes will give rise to 200 spermatozoa. Have a look. One secondary spermatocyte to 2 sperms. Let's move on. Okay, so let me use another color. Okay, so this one was actually pointing somewhere here. Okay, and this is pointing here. Okay, so let's do. All right. C represents perivitelline space between ovum and zona pellucida and has sperm receptors. No. Where will it have sperm receptors? It should be there on the zona pellucida, right? So no. A is zona pellucida, I see, of layer which blocks the entry of additional sperms. This is correct. Okay, B is corona radiata layer, facilitates the entry of 2 or more sperms. No. C is zona pellucida layer, which is present between corona radiata and ovum. C is zona pellucida present between corona radiata. No. C points somewhere here in between perivitelline membrane and zona pellucida. So no. So it has to be option number 2. Let me now see this. Okay, which of the following 4 statements regarding embryonic development in humans are correct? I see. Cleavage divisions bring about considerable increase in the mass of protoplasm. Difficult. So what about the second statement? With more cleavage divisions, the blastomeres will keep on decreasing in size. This is true. The blastomeres in the in trophoblast, and trophoblast is there, and endometrium. Okay, no. Let's come to this. Cleavage divisions result in solid ball of cells called morula. True. So that means I'll go with true. Where are these 2 options? Second and fourth. Sorted. Okay. Let's come to the next one. Okay, read the following statements carefully and choose the correct statements. This is from that calendar part, right? So that calendar part of embryonic development is damn important. Okay, there we go. After 1 month, embryo heart formed. True. By the end of 3rd month of pregnancy, fetus develops. No. By the end of second trimester is like 3 months, 1 trimester. So 6 months. Most of the major organs, it should be by 5th month only. Third month only. It should be by 3rd to 5th month only. Okay. So not by the second semester, but by the end of 3rd, max to max 4 months. Okay. It should be done. So false. By the end of second semester, the body is covered. True. By the end of 9 months of pregnancy, the fetus is fully developed and is ready for delivery. True. So 1, 4, 5. Correct. Let's come to this. Okay, true and false. The average duration of human pregnancy 9 months. It is called as gestation period from pregnancy to delivery. Oxytocin, uterine contraction. True. Mammary glands are found in the pregnancy and start producing milk towards the end of the pregnancy called lactation. True. Colostrum contains antibodies. IgA, not antigens, okay? Essential to, no. Antibody, not antigen. Not antigen, it's antibody. So, true, false. Option 2. Correct? This should be false. Correct? IgA. Correct? Antibody. Okay. Now let's come to this. Okay. So what does it say? Okay, you have to identify the incorrect ones, correct? Homo erectus had a evolution, had a cranial capacity, true. Fish with stout and strong fins could move on land and go back to water. Yes, because they can overcome the water resistance. 350 Mia, true. Okay. Early mammals were all oviparous and very intelligent in sensing and avoiding danger. False. All were not capable. Okay. Due to some continental drift, okay, marsupial mole, my bad, of Australia survived because of lack of competition from other animals. No, no, no. So this should be 3 and 4. Right? See, isn't it? It should be 3 and 4. Correct? Yes. Let's come to the next one. This is fine. This is easy. They are talking about progesterone and maintenance of endometrium. So this is fine. Let's move on to the next question. Okay. Fine. So they are asking about different statements for this one. Choose the correct set of statements. Correct. Okay. Like which one is what? Okay. So in that case, let me take, all right. During luteal phase, the corpus luteum secretes a small amount of progesterone, which is essential for regression. I see. Okay. The signal hormone induces release of estrogen and prolactin from maternal pituitary. This is false. Estrogen and prolactin, estrogen is released from ovary. So this is false. Okay. So option 3 is present is here, here. So this option becomes false. Okay. By the end of first trimester, the development, see, first trimester, 3 months, limbs and external genitalia are evident. So I'll take it as true. Then seminiferous tubules are lined inside by fertilized cells and spermatogonia, true. So 4, 5, true. What about the second one? Sperm interacts with the zona pellucida membrane, which induces enzymatic action to prevent polyspermy. True. Okay, so I'll just stick to this. Okay, so 2, 4, 5. Let's move on. All right. This is again about secondary oocyte Graafian follicle, so I'm not doing it. You guys are well adversed with this. Okay. If you want me, I can do this for you. This is easy. But otherwise, this is also like, of no such stuff. Okay. So endometrium uterus. Okay. Acrosome is present in spermatozoa. So A4, B2, okay, polar body will be rudimentary after a while. So it will be C1, and if I take clitoris, oh no, I can't do that. No, I can't do that. I think for that, let me change the color. No. So in that case, polar body is the product of oogenesis, right? So I'll stick to third over here. So A4, B2, C3, here you go, and D1, clitoris. Correct? So I'll stick to option number 2. Fine. This is again about hormones. This is easy. I'm not doing this with you. Okay. This is indicators to improve reproductive health. Now we are slowly getting into reproductive health concepts. So this is fine. Let's not do this. Okay. Let's do this one. Ideal contraceptive. should be user-friendly, should be easily available, least side effect should be there, and whenever we don't want to use the contraceptive, the effect should be reversed, should be interfering with coitus, false, should be expensive, no, it should be cheap, so false. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Third option. Now, cervical caps and all, this is like easy. Okay, so, okay, this is like fine. Let's do this. Oral pills. So you take oral pills continuously for 21 days. You can start from any day when menses are going on. You have to continue for 21 days. Give a gap of 7 days. So daily for a period of 7 days. And you can start from any day of menstrual cycle. And then after taking for 21 days, give a gap of 7 days. Okay? Give a gap of 7 days. So that should be this one, correct? All right. Let's do Saheli. Somehow I feel like Saheli is important even though it's easy. Once in a week pill, true, and has a very few side effects. Developed by CDRI Lucknow. Is an oral pill. No, false. It's non-steroidal. It's non-steroidal. Non-steroidal. So 1 and 2. 1, 2. Oh, I have missed this. This oral contraceptives may cause multiple side effects and low contraceptive value. False. So that means 1 and 2. Option number 2. Right? Okay, now this is so easy. You have to identify the correctly matched pair. See, they have given you some examples. Natural method is your coitus interruptus. Correct? Coitus interruptus. Right? Whether semen is not allowed to be inseminated in the female reproductive tract, and that is totally under the control, under the will control, right? So natural method, coitus interruptus. All right. Again, regarding the contraceptive, good contraceptive and all, I'm not doing it with you guys. This is easy. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's do this false option given below. Genital herpes and hepatitis B are caused by virus. This is true. Syphilis, true. In India, there is a rapid decline in true. Genital warts is an inflammatory disease caused by avoiding sex. Avoiding sex? No. So this should be false, correct? So option number 4. All right. Okay. This is again a true false statement. I'm not doing this with you guys. Okay, let's see this. Choose the correct statements from the following. IUT. Embryo is transferred into the uterus after in vitro fertilization. True. Gamete is collected and injected into the fallopian tube. Yes, of the female who cannot produce gametes. True. Semen is taken from a donor and transferred into the female genital tract of that woman whose partner cannot produce semen. So true. Zygote is inserted into the fallopian tube. ICSI. One sperm transferred into the ovum manually, okay, in a more precise way. True. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All 5 of the statements are true. All right. This is IMR, MMR. Let's not do this. You guys can do it. This shouldn't be of any issue. Okay. This shouldn't be of any issue. All right. Some dates. So I'm not discussing this. Okay. Let's do some questions of evolution. All right. This is regarding Miller's experiment, right? So according to the most accepted theory, where Urey Miller performed and mimicked the primitive Earth's condition in the laboratory, they took different gases, mixed them up, condensed, obtained organic molecules, boiled them, and again split the organic compounds into different gases, right? And this was the mixture of gases taken. They mimic primitive Earth by putting electrical sparking that was equivalent to lightning, and very high temperature was maintained using 800 degrees C, correct? So that's the fourth one. All right. Okay, that is the experiment. So this is the same thing only. A is your electrodes, definitely. These are the mixture of gases. So NH3, H2, water vapor, CH4. Okay. C is your condenser. D is your trap, U trap. Okay, and sorted. That means this option. That means this option. Correct? Option number 1. Option number 1. Right. All right. So, yes. Okay, by the way, I wanted to say something. So, the batch where I was teaching the same Urey and Miller's experiment this Sunday, and they were so excited. So, this is a welcome thing to you guys, that if you guys are joining from that center, you very well know which center am I talking about. So, this is for you guys. Remember, Sunday we were discussing this. Remember? So, this is for Barashat Center and all my students at Barashat Center. We were discussing this with them in the Sunday's class, and this is the importance. This is the importance of the question. That's why we were trying to analyze every statement of NCERT. See, they can give you a diagram. They can give you which gases were present, identify and annotate the diagram. So a simple concept can be turned into a neat question this way, right? Fine, let's carry on. All right, this is homologous, analogous. You guys are very, very comfortable with all this. Oh, Ernst Haeckel. Evidence, embryological evidence of evolution. So, Ernst Haeckel, what was his support? Embryological evidence. What was his support? He said that there was vestigial gill slits in embryo of all vertebrates. Okay, see. Let's move on. This is easy. So they have given you two structures, and what exactly is it? A and B are analogous organs and are quite different in fundamental structure and origin, but perform similar function. False. Both A and B have similar habitat that has resulted in selection of adaptive feature. I don't know. So that's false. Convergent evolution. I see. Structures A and B show convergent evolution. So if analogous organ thing is wrong, then automatically convergent evolution stuff will also be wrong. They provide morphological and anatomical evidence to trace evolutionary relationship. First option. Okay. All right. Marsupials, Australian marsupials. So from the center of the island, they moved out to different parts of the island, right? This is called as divergent evolution. Am I right? See. Okay. Hugo de Vries, interesting. On his work, this is NCERT line. Evening Primrose brought the idea of mutation. Mutation are random, all right. Directionless. If they are random, they should be directionless. Okay, while Darwinian variations are small and directional. They are directional. Okay, large speciation, and hence called it as saltation. Correct? So, evening primrose, directionless, directional, and then saltation. Correct? Fine. Fine. Now, this is Hardy-Winn bugs. This P square is nothing but homozygous dominant individuals, correct? This is recessive individuals and this is heterozygotes. I'm not doing anything else, so let's keep it till here. So, Most of the things you have revised from these 3 chapters. So I had a quick brush on that. If you have any doubts or anything from here, don't keep on learning the same stuff that you already know. Try to do questions of ploidy, hormones, menstrual cycle, some dates, database question from reproductive health, okay? Because everything else have been studied thoroughly, all right? And the calendar of embryogenic development, fine? Till then, we'll again meet for question paper analysis of mock paper 5, ReNEET. Till then, happy studying biology. This is your teacher, Swagata Rai Chaudhary, signing out for today. Thank you very much. একটা জায়গায় কিন্তু এখানে একটা কোয়েশ্চেন ভুল আছে, বুঝেছো?